Like any red-blooded American, I played Battleship the game and cheated. It was my first experience cheating.
Yeah, I played it, yeah, with the red and white pegs.
It was one of the staples in my game inventory.
My grandfather had an old one.
What I love about Battleship is the strategy of it.
The fun of winning and the fun of hitting someone and the fun of missing and all those things that are within the game. And those memories are great.
We have an emotional connectivity to Battleship.
First of all, Battleship has been enjoyed for nearly 40 years around the world in more than 30 countries. So it is not an American brand. This is actually a global brand. And it's known as Battleship or naval battles everywhere around the world.
When we decided to do a movie based on Battleship, we decided from the outset we're going to embrace it. We wanted not only to use battleships, but also to look at the hallmarks of the game that people have loved so much and incorporate them into the movie. As in the game, our ship is blind. All our radar capability has been taken away early on in the fight with the aliens. As a result, we are hunting for them in the dark. Similarly, when we were talking about what kind of weapons the aliens should have, and one of the designers from Hasbro suggested to us using a bullet that looks like a peg.
We want it all to feel very much like the game, that it's us versus them. It just happens to be aliens this time.
The next step is, who's the perfect person to direct that?
You had to find somebody who really liked the idea of the military, but the Navy in particular.
And that brought us to Pete Berg.
For a minute, they reveal themselves. It's above, and that's the front. You're looking down at the front of it. For me, Battleship was a natural fit because my father was a naval historian, so I was exposed to naval history at a very early age. Spent a lot of time at a lot of Navy museums. But for me, my relationship with the Navy in particular started with me writing a script for hopefully my next film. And through that, I got to know a lot of folks both in the SEAL community and also the big Navy. And so we were afforded this luxury of the cooperation from the military. Peter Berg, welcome aboard. Nice to meet you. How are you? How's everybody doing today? Good. Thanks for having us on your ship. No worries. Looking forward to seeing it.
Typical Pete Berg. You know, he gets completely immersed in whatever the idea is. And if you give him any opportunity to get onto a Navy ship, he'll take it, you know, with alacrity.
Isn't the chair facing the wrong way? Just out of curiosity.
You've got these amazing ships. And then the backdrop, of course, is Hawaii.
There was a fair amount of scouting for this movie. Location-wise, started to drift more and more towards Pearl Harbor, which is the meat and potatoes of the film. Also, we looked at a series of ranches around here. The Kualoa Ranch is sort of the 3,000-pound gorilla on the island. Not only is it beautiful, but they're very film-friendly.
The ranch is a great place to shoot. You know, obviously other people have shot there before us, but it's got a great look. It was valuable. We definitely wanted to be there.
Oahu and Pearl Harbor, it's a place with just, you know, obviously a really rich history, and it was great getting to take these tours and then talk to these sailors and these officers that just, I was really, really happy to get there a couple weeks early just to delve into all of it.
We wanted to create an environment where we could do a movie about the Navy, about these magnificent ships, which people have not seen. I mean, I think they're really awe-inspiring when you go on a destroyer.
Jeff Benny, nice to meet you.
We really got an idea of the atmosphere, what it looks like, all the machines, the different decks, the different rooms in the ship, and the different people and their jobs, and it really kind of helped us to, you know, wrap our minds around that initially.
It's awesome, and a DDG just rides smooth. It's so exciting
to hear you talk about it. Like, your face just lights up.
Just to stand back and watch all the real guys do what they do best, you know? Just try to absorb and soak it in and use as much as possible.
We have a sortie of inbound potential hostiles. Need you to keep your head on a swivel. We got a combat and air team fully manned.
It was really special, getting these private access tours.
Most of the time, I'm going to be in CIC, Combat Information Center, or Combat. That's where I'll fight the ship from.
Talking to the captain, going down to their CIC while they're out there. And that was really great.
The kind of rule of thumb with the Navy was if you can piggyback on an event that they're doing, they're very happy to let you be part of it.
Well, what we're doing is we're starting the process of trying to figure out just how we're going to film out at sea, which is something that conventional wisdom tells you one of the stupidest things you could possibly try and do is make a movie out at sea. This is a very stabilized boat, so we're going to take her out into the high seas. We're hoping to be able to do some ship-to-ship filming. And in the last 2 days, I've eaten 25 pounds of garlic shrimp, 18 pounds of garlic ribs, and I had about 75 pounds of garlic-crusted edamame last night. So this should be an interesting boating day.
Death to all regents!
One of the big challenges of doing a movie called Battleship was how do you bring a battleship into the movie Battleship when battleships are no longer a part of any Navy on this earth. We came up with a concept for how to incorporate that in using the USS Missouri, which is one of the most famous ships to have ever sailed the oceans.
The first step is we had to find it. Now we found it. Here she is, right here. She's being worked on. She's being refit, updated, made more seaworthy.
It's very rare that you will see a battleship go into dry dock. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Let me understand this in idiot terms, okay? This thing's full of water, right? They pull it in here. Those blocks are all preset down there?
You have to have every one of those 309 keel blocks aligned to where your plans, which go back to World War II in some cases, say that we have the reinforcement. And that's what our naval architects studied for months, is where exactly do we place those blocks and get the ship in exactly within an inch. They have to be, the tolerances within 1 inch. They have to be exactly in the right place or you'll damage the hull. And then adjusting the ballast in there to make sure it's perfectly level as it goes down.
What we're trying to talk the Navy into doing now is letting us take a little detour with her, where we take her, refurbished, cherried out, looking spectacular, out into the ocean.
In January, before production began in August, we were able to tow the USS Missouri off of its dock and into open water.
We're going to pump almost 500 million gallons of seawater into this dry dock here, the largest of our dry docks here at Pearl Harbor Naval Shipyard. We're going to be pulling this 55,000-ton, 887-foot-long battleship by rope. And then as soon as it reaches the entrance, as soon as it gets outside what we call the sill, then we're going to have 4 tugboats come up, snuggle up against the side of the Missouri, and escort her back to her place of honor over at Ford Island.
We've got a camera boat, and we've got an aerial unit, then we got Lucas, the handheld beast, gonna go handheld on the actual ship, so we're gonna cover it every which way. I mean, it's just one of those moments.
Production design-wise, if we're not going to be on a ship and show their bridge and we're going to build a bridge, you want to have access to their schematics and all the things so that everything on the bridge is accurate to what it would be like to be on one of those ships.
You think I just made this up?
Because we had spent a lot of time with the Navy and toured a lot of the ships, there was a pretty clear understanding of what you could physically do on a real ship and what you would have to build, you know, as a set. This is an engine room, or at least half of an engine room. It has the feel of it has the character of it, and it has all of the proper pieces of equipment. Everything that you see in here are things that are actually in an engine room.
We got real jet engines. We built them into the set. We built the whole set from scratch. We are platformed, and with the upper level, we had a graded ceiling with sort of gantry beamed panels that we dressed behind some, but without having to build that whole part.
The bridges were one of the biggest action sections in that the entire bridge needed to be on a platform that moved so that we could slant it, tilt it, make it roll with the ocean waves, etc.
Our technical advisor walked through and goes, well, it looks like you're really on the bridge. That I'm very proud of the work that our crew had done to make this actually tie in with the real ships that we were on when we built the set pieces. They look like the real ships.
In prep, there are lots of discussions, lots of photographs, lots of drawings, and there's a lot of people who have a lot to say. So you try to get as much of all of that in as you can. It's the fun part, collaboration.
There's certain projects that you just feel a filmmaker has in their blood to do. It's meant to be, and this feels like one of those for Peter Berg.
There's something fun about trying to get the Navy involved and getting to spend time with these ships and see how awesome they are. And to get to make a film about it is kind of a dream come true for me.
And markers, B mark.
Pictures up, and roll camera.
And action! Q1, go! Boom! Splash! Jump, jump, jump! Boom! Cut! That's what I'm talking about.
Delgado, what kind of cut don't you understand?
I'm just trying to keep them excited.
Right away.
He's never gonna be in the movie. Oh, that was great! That was everybody working together. Taylor Kitsch is like my little baby brother. I think we all kind of have the same sensibility, and there's a certain tone that we find amusing.
I got it!
Go, Taylor.
I got it! I got it! I got it! Bring it on! Stop!
You know Pete's gonna bring the action, and any actor will love the way he shoots in regards to freedom, no marks, nothing like that.
Outstanding. Okay, good.
Favorite scene in the film?
Kevin, we good?
The way he directs is just try this, try that, try this. Okay, what if you did this?
I was just wondering, when you land, if you could just do like kind of...
Someone just pull me up.
All right, that's it. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. Get him out of here.
Jim, let's go up.
Get him out of here. That's it. Send him to actor purgatory.
They obviously know each other from Friday Night Lights, and so he's very used to this way of working with Pete. I'm sorry?
Didn't say anything.
Oh, I get it. I've never worked on a movie this big before, and I was honest with Pete, and I said, I'm nervous, you know? The scope of the movie, is that gonna infringe on my creativity? Is there a dialogue at all, or, you know? And he just laughs, and he was like, don't worry, it's very organic and very playful and creative.
He's a very talented and very appealing, charming young actor.
Hey! Look, brother, explosion!
It was really fun to watch him. Like, it was fun to watch all these young actors.
We play around all the time, but every day I learn. It's my first major film, so working with Peter Berg, he really got me out of the mentality of being a celebrity or Rihanna. I had to read books, I had to watch films, I had to research weapons, how to hold the weapon the correct way. Hey! I also trained with a badass weapons officer in real life.
I'm Jacqueline Carrizosa. I help Rihanna with just basic military lingo, weapons handling, with like our postures, like standing at ease, attention, saluting.
A lot of stunt training as well. It's a very physically demanding film.
Faster now, keep going. Good, that's hot!
But I'm getting my ass into shape while I'm doing it, so that's a plus.
Who's in charge?
Rakes, she's like the toughest chick you'll ever meet. Rihanna, I think, in her personality, she brings Rakes to life.
Let's go, bees, let's get the hell out of here!
The cast is international. I mean, I've got Tadanobu. To work with this man, this actor is a legend in Japan. Nagata killing it, as per usual. By the way, I tip my hat to Nagata. Tadanobu, the balls it takes to come over here, be in this huge movie, be a huge part in this movie, and to be speaking English and being that vulnerable and putting that out there, good on you, man.
Come on, Robert, get in here. Come on. Cozy up to Nevada. Yeah! You look so cute. You guys make a great couple.
永田はまあどっか真面目なんだけど、その真面目さがなんかこうただ真面目ではなくて、なんかこうちょっとコミカルというか、僕はそういう風に受け取ってますかね。
Ready and we dating? Ask him if he wants to go play soccer. You want to play some soccer? Ask him.
You want to play soccer?
He clearly knows what he's doing. I think he's actually crazy like a fox. I think he's very sly. Someone to keep your eye on.
Let's go, let's go.
Take these bastards, come on! Focus on that dude!
That was fun. Man, it was huge. I mean, for me, my first film, everything's a dream. From the catering.
I'm doing the country a service and making sure it doesn't go to waste.
To working with Peter Berg.
So I suggest we start returning fire or find a new position or both, sir. Give me some of those.
I'm working with all the other actors. It's just like winning the lotto.
Brooklyn got right in there, and she's really, for a 23-year-old girl, incredibly mature. You know, and there's been all this speculation about, you know, can a Sports Illustrated model act?
You had one job. Take your hat off. May I marry your daughter?
You know, the truth is she really is mature, and I think she's quite good. Hey, Mark! Here she comes, boys!
This is my first time doing action, and I love it so much.
Action!
We smash into thugs. We reverse and smash them and kill them, and it's so much fun.
And then it's a lot of time spent with Greg Gadson, who's our actor who plays really himself.
That was intense. Greg Gadson came out. He's never acted before. He's a double amputee. This is completely out of his comfort zone, but he jumped right into it, and it was pretty intense.
Come on!
Okay, get him in there!
My character's a Special Forces Army officer that was wounded in Afghanistan, and I was a battalion commander in Iraq, and lost my legs to an IED also above the knee. And so my opening scene in the movie can't be any more authentic. All of the people here are real warriors, and so I hope it shows them that life goes on and that you can't quit.
You know, we're gonna get it. We're gonna claw it out, and it's gonna look incredible. I love soldiers, and I respect the warrior spirit of any soldier anywhere in the world. The Navy understands that, and as a result, they've opened up their doors to us in fairly unprecedented ways.
We've got the film crew aboard for the movie Battleship, so please make them feel welcome in the bedpole tradition.
You can't beat these real sailors. I mean, first of all, they're great looking. They've got tremendous character.
They're dead. CO and XO are dead.
For a guy who's going to say one or two things, you got a much more interesting performance out of a real Navy sailor than you would out of flying an actor in. And once they got comfortable in our world with cameras and equipment and, you know, film crew running around, it was better to just have people that could just jump right into it.
We saved the world. God bless you.
First and second shot missed.
Captain Berg's been great. You know, we're faking this. I am not a commanding officer, and so we would be completely lost without Captain Berg in terms of getting it right.
You're back on your helm, you steady, son, and then you tell him, all weapons forward, not rapid continuous. Just no more helm orders.
Captain Rick, our Navy consultant, who is a real retired guided missile captain, seems to like to kind of needle Kitsch, and Kitsch has no appetite for it.
The course of 270, so we're now heading due west, of course. You hit an aircraft carrier, you fail. You miss the ball, you fail. How about that? That still doesn't look right, but I'll buy it.
Everyone's a director, apparently. Whatever.
We created something that we now call Captain Rick's Boot Camp to contribute to how things are said and done.
Is that your war face? What kind of a face is that?
Where they fit in the chain of command of the ship.
Wipe that
that smile off your face, sailor!
What their action should be. Don't fall off the boat. I felt right at home with this group, with this particular crew.
When I walked on the ship the first day and talked to Captain Rick, met these guys and heard what it is that they do, my brain was just like, it was just going crazy because I would love to step on set the first day and know absolutely everything about everything that my character would know, but it's like I would have had to start training a few years ago, I think.
Come right, steer course 270.
Come right, steer course 270, aye, sir. And the Navy's been wonderful.
On the forecastle, everyone in uniform. And hot.
My first day was making a speech to 500 people, a lot of them Navy personnel. You know, here's a guy from Ireland, you know, dressed up as Admiral of the Fleet. The Navy personnel all gave me the salute and stuff, and it was inspiring, you know.
We have with us today veterans from the Missouri who have served on her, some going back to World War II.
There's the old salts.
There is no man standing in front of me that knows the meaning of the word quit.
We just finished a scene with a 94-year-old that was in battle in 1941, so it doesn't get more real than that.
We have about 600 veterans from different navies. You're all on camera the whole time, so let's get it done, all right? Let's do it.
I did serve in Vietnam. I'm in the Marine Corps, though, not the Navy. But they're all the Department of One, so I'll take it.
You just can't help but be really inspired by these guys.
E marker.
Action. Lieutenant Colonel, United States Army retired, Mick Canales.
We're representing them, and we're trying to do it well, and so being around them is just, they're tough guys, and they've seen a lot, and it's really inspiring.
そういう意味では非常に意味のある映画だなと思ってますね。そのパールハーバーで僕ら日本人がアメリカの船の上で撮影してる。こんなにみんな笑顔で一緒に仕事ができるっていうのは本当にね、亡くなられた方たちに感謝しなきゃいけないなと思います。
In this case, it's not only the U.S. Navy, but the Japanese are here, and it's really cool the way Pete put this whole project together.
Hey, was that fun?
I got a job after the Navy.
Yeah, is that fun? You like it?
Oh, yeah.
Fun, right? Welcome. Is it fun?
Yes, sir.
I like it. I like it. You guys are good. I really want to shoot this gun. There's no reason that I want to shoot it. There's no logic behind it. I just want to shoot it.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for understanding.
No problem. I understand.
Thank you. Finally found a place where I belong. United States Navy. At sea is a fool's errand. It's virtually impossible. You're guaranteed long periods of being shut down, weather issues, people getting sick, gear being lost. But like the fools that we are diving headfirst into this endeavor.
1, 2, 3.
At the beginning of the shoot, we were out on a barge off the coast of Oahu with a piece of set, which is the top of the Regent flagship, floating in open water.
Here we go, pictures up. Day one, couldn't be a bigger circus.
We're a mile offshore. We have a barge that's 240 feet long, 60 feet wide, with our entire film crew on it.
Basically, it's a sound stage out at sea. We've got craft service out here. We've got our rip truck, 2 different cranes, all of our camera equipment, our generators.
Good, cut. Do one more of those.
And this set piece has to sit out there for a week in the ocean, and the ocean just loves to tear things apart.
Taylor, you good? Concerned that there's certain crew members, like Tobias, our DP, who are gonna just collapse and pass out. He's dropped 2 walkie-talkies off of the boat. He's tripping, he's stumbling. Tobias, sit with me right here.
The physicality of working in the water
is very difficult. Normally, things take twice as long as you think they will.
And reset, kids. Reset. Stay focused, actors.
We had up to 85 people in the water. We had people jumping from as high as 35 feet. We had explosions. We had fire. We had everything.
That's badass, isn't it?
How'd you like that coming at you? Yeah! Bring it!
It was nuts, man, in every way. I know, I think that kind of encompasses the whole film. We're all in. It's all or nothing.
We see it, we kill it. Just kill it. Whatever it is, kill it.
It's great. We couldn't pick a more perfect place to do this film.
It's like a vacation. It's like a sexy, wet, sunny, splashy vacation.
It was grueling in the first week because I didn't know whether I'd get seasick, but I was gonna learn real fast there.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Biggest swells so far. I might puke on somebody.
It's quite intense.
Just to be out in the ocean, there's things that happen that you can't rehearse. If it was on green screen, just simply wouldn't happen.
It really helps you get into character and get an idea of the intensity of the situation.
Let's all take some deep breaths and focus now, okay? Nobody gets hurt.
We went into it knowing that it's complex and tried to figure out what we could do to not get out into the ocean and have all hell break loose. So we made a good plan, and it went incredibly well. And I'm glad that we were able to get out there and do it.
Great week. Great week.
Okay, that is a wrap. That's a wrap off the barge.
Shooting on the ships really got intense.
It's such a great honor, especially shooting it here.
You know, one of the great things about being able to direct films is you can kind of pick things that interest you, and the kid in me and the patriot in me loves these ships.
Well, we are in Pearl Harbor in beautiful Hawaii, and Pete has kind of gotten us out on the real thing. This is a real ship, you know, and we're working with the Navy, and they've been great.
These are ships that have never been filmed. They're really incredible. Hopefully, they'll make for some damn good production value. I want to fall back and get the wide shots. Let's go.
So right now, we're dealing with a thug fight, and so there are stages. So you set up stunts.
E-marker. Action.
The Thug chases Hopper all throughout the ship. They come outside. Thug leaps from the quarterdeck down, right behind Hopper.
Okay, now Thug attacking Hopper, airborne.
Right. Hopper wants to place the Thug right in front of the 5-inch gun.
Right behind us is the 5-inch gun, and we can provide a very exciting and suspenseful few moments, the last few moments of this particular bad guy's life.
That's pretty cool.
Shooting on ships kind of raises your game in a different sense.
Especially shooting on USS Missouri, it was historic.
We're on the Battleship Missouri, taking it out to sea. I think it's the first time in 20 years it's been out. I'm kind of standing here freaking out a little bit, just a tiny little bit.
E-marker. Set, action, go, go! Everybody, y'all say hi to Leah?
You don't really have to use your imagination. It's just all here. It's all there. It's pretty jaw-dropping.
The fact that we're sitting where World War II ended, right here on this ship, is pretty amazing.
600 extras, veterans. You kind of get sucked into the patriotism. You just can't help it. We're in the 16-inch gun turret, going where no man has gone before.
We're loading a pistol.
I want my little sweetheart here, my little girl.
We're sending something to the Martians.
Let nobody date her.
We're going to build this set, and we decided why build it when we can actually climb in here and film it.
As how we shot it was crazy. It was sort of like very avant-garde, the approach to it. They would squish up in whatever space they find.
All right, here we go. Action!
It was surreal. I think 65 years ago, there were young blokes in there at the ages of 18, 19, covered in sweat, loading missiles, and it was very humbling.
Be proud, be fierce. Let's get it done, all right? Let's do it.
We have that honor of playing these guys, of representing the military and, of course, the Navy.
Being here in Pearl Harbor, being with these veterans, to be able to come on to the mighty Missouri, which is, I think, the most incredible fighting ship ever built. And to be able to use this as a backdrop for our film is kind of a dream come true.
Hit it!
Here we go, and...
Put some movement into this. It's combat photography. Boom, boom, down the Taylor.
The way he directs, it's not like your average film.
There's lots of funny little scenarios he puts us in, but he gets us fired up, which is fun.
All right, all you people, throwing looks around, yelling back. Oh!
He's like a mad hatter.
One more time, now we got it, now we're dialed in, that's it.
I love how adventurous he is and very spontaneous and random.
Yeah! Oh, that's a hit.
Pete Berg's set is unique in that you have a filmmaker who also is a writer and who also is an actor. And he definitely brings all of those elements together when he directs on set.
Let's step it up, guys, from the top.
He's incredibly intuitive, and he works with everyone in whatever he knows is going to work. He's going to direct you, Alex, me differently.
Let's make it happen.
Pete Berg is the captain, and he drives this movie the same way that a good captain drives the ship when they're underway.
Everybody over, let's go, step on it, double turn. Yeah, look up.
As a director, I like it. He knows exactly what he wants, and I love his process.
Keep it cool, give him a hug. Gunners go on 60.
He didn't go under that light, just let him put it, at least go under that light.
Here we go.
I don't think he ever says the word cut.
Race, can you see it?
I can see it.
Kill it.
Killing it, sir.
One more time, reset, and go, guys, go.
We just keep going again, keep the camera running.
Take it from the introduction again, from Stand Fast, son.
It's always some gibberish he's saying.
Shakalaka, boom at you.
And you're like, is that a cut? Now we know that that's cut.
Very good.
That means you like it.
Good job, background.
That's cut. And once that's all established, he puts the focus on the scene and on the actors.
Liam, that's good. Try one where it's like, which one's Hopper? One more playful action.
We all sort of feed off that energy. It really helps us a lot.
Fire up, stand clear, set 12.
It's always fun whenever he's just left the microphone on and he's just singing whatever random song is stuck in his head for everyone to hear.
Because it's so playful and organic, you know, we'll come up with new things. And Pete, you know, being an actor himself, definitely encourages that.
Whoa! Hanging on. Say hello to my little friend.
He just pumps you up, and it just makes you more excited to work on the film, and you know that you're going to be able to do some really cool things that you've maybe never done.
Peter Berg is creatively, he's like a madman. I mean, he's just, the ideas constantly kind of flow out of him.
I don't care about the production value, I want the depth.
Yes, gotta get up in there. It's the crazy bastards.
When it comes to action, he wants that action to flow.
It's coming in! It's coming in! Get the out of there! Boom, boom, boom! Explosion! Whoa, whip pan out!
He was definitely steps outside the normal parameters for what a director does. He's obsessed with sports and fitness.
Push him out! 10 more, let's go right now.
He's everybody's personal fitness trainer.
Come on, one more.
You definitely have to eat right on his crew.
It's my lunch.
Just be careful around Pete. Be aware. Do not eat any unhealthy foods. Stay away from the craft service tent.
Oh my God. This isn't carbs, this is just deep fried chaos.
I don't know if you've heard about the donut messages every morning, but he lets you know that if you eat a donut, you'll be publicly ridiculed in front of the entire crew.
Hope is not a tactic. Oh, I hope I don't turn into a fat pig.
All you actors out there, if you want to lose weight, you have to do a Peter Berg film, and you will lose weight.
We need everybody to be alert and functioning. It's 210 calories, 380 milligrams of sodium. It's going to bring you up, and then you're going to crash, and you're not going to be any use to me or anybody else. Throw this away, please.
I think all of us are in a little bit better physical shape as a result of his directing style.
I've been doing this for 35 years, and every time I do a Pete movie, there's something I haven't done. So that makes it special for me.
This is not in the manual. And go, action.
When you walk away saying that I'd do this another 12 hours after a 12-hour day straight, you know?
Camera comes right into a close-up of Sam.
Working with him, you feel like you're kind of bettering yourself every day. So I'm loving it every second.
The reason that we're all enjoying ourselves so much is because of the guy in charge.
Take a moment and think about, reflect upon where you are today, where you want to be tomorrow. Meditate.
Yeah, that's Pete.
Come on, focus!
Oh, that's who he is.
Very nice, everybody.
We're going to lunch.
Go have some lunch.
Okay.
What is that? Catfish? That's pretty good.
We, from the outset, wanted to work with ILM on Battleship.
There's a huge visual effects component to Battleship. The alien ships and the creatures had to be really dynamic and kick ass.
Our philosophy is that the best performance capture happens live on location.
The thing that ILM is known for is the incredible realism.
I don't think anyone's seen water created like this before.
The work they do is second to none.
The initial design idea that we worked on for the alien ships was taken from the idea of a water bug.
These are rough drawings of the Regent fleet with Ringo, George, John, Paul. We'll call this one Elvis. They have a couple different positions so they can get flat, but when they want to move or fight, they kind of come up. And we use water bugs, like different kind of water insects, as inspiration, because if you look at the extreme close-ups of those animals, they're real violent looking, you know, and the way they move, they kind of leap. So, you know, when we sit with ILM, we're going to talk about ways in which they can move, which isn't classic rear propulsion, but that they can maybe almost jump.
He wants these ships to have character and to respond in interesting ways.
It doesn't just kind of come up like, and then it's up. It's got to be.
So that's what we started developing, going from illustrated versions of ships, and then we start modeling them. And then we start view painting them and looking at those and trying to make them look photoreal.
What we'll do is we'll have sort of renderings and just basic turntables of all of our ships so that we can see how they are, and then we'll start to put them into the shots and the real shot lighting, and we'll start to add in more detail and more textures and refine stuff from there.
We worked on designs for Ringo to have just this giant peg launcher array where there's just like rows and rows of them and they deploy out. To differentiate between, you know, the different alien ships, we gave them each their different color signature so that this class of ship is blue. Its intelligent pattern is blue. This one's green, this one's red, this one's yellow.
Not only do they breach up through the water, but they recycle water. They're always pulling water up through pipes and kind of recycling it out, so they're constantly pumping water all around them. We knew we had to create a whole new water system at ILM, a new way of directing water and simulating water and being able to render it in very photoreal ways.
You start with a kind of a volume mesh, you know, water, which is not white. It's just a blue piece of volume. Then you start thinking about the whitecaps. The whitecaps are a different paths. Then you use those whitecaps to generate particles. Those particles generate mist. And then you let the computer simulate all that.
One breakthrough we made on this movie was to be able to throw enough computer power at it that we could do the whole thing together. So all of these things are constantly interacting, and that's how we get that kind of completely physical, real look to it.
It's interesting to kind of see how this nugget of some idea with a lot of R&D and a lot of render time really led to kind of one of the most visually arresting shots in the movie. It's very important to Pete that everything has just a kind of a bit of personality that every once in a while you kind of see behind that. And even something like a chainsaw whipping around a ball needed to have character.
The initial shredder designs were done by Neil Spizak and Aaron Hay in the LA art department. And they're basically like moving wrecking balls. They have a gyroscope in them so they can sort of steer in certain ways, but they're launched by the Ringo flagship.
In this specific sequence, the shredder is flying from one of the ships, coming into a freeway.
The shredder is going to bust through the car, and as it breaks through the car is going to cannon over.
3, 2, 1.
It's in basically pancake on top of this car. When we continue the action, we'll be detonating these K-rails. And then the shredder goes on about its business.
More kind of stuff you can kind of get live right there in camera, the better.
You know, the most successful shots are the ones in which we combine miniature work with practical effect, CG work, you know, all together.
Was very intent upon having a non-slimy alien. He wanted to have a regent that looks foreign to our world, but breathes through a nose, sees through eyes, has appendages. Maybe they're a little special, but by and large, we recognize the form.
When we first started the show, we had one regent that we had to get out, and that was the land commander. As the show progressed, we had other characters like the Thug, which were the henchmen, and then there was also the Sea Commander, who was in charge of, I guess, all of the battleships. There were a couple of other characters that were created. One was called Clarence, the ship scientist. And then also we had the background regents. This is the Thug here in its flesh form without any of its armor. And it's neat because this kind of shows you what they're made up of and how their armor integrates with their skin. There's no real edge of where the blend happens. It's just a part of them. If you look here, this whole section here would be something that I would have sculpted. And then any of this mechanical stuff would come from Russell Paul's crew.
My role was really just to work on the suits of armor, and that was actually really challenging. All the armor that you see on all the aliens is very asymmetrical. We couldn't just build one side of it and copy it to the other side, which we typically can do. We actually had to build really everything twice. You know, we had to build specific armor to one side and then build different armor on the other side. So it was really challenging, but I think the aesthetic makes it really nice. It gives it something different.
Here's some of the biomechanical things where you've got a combination of mechanical parts which are integrating with flesh, which is really cool.
They have faces like we do. They have little holes in their faces, like ventilation holes to help with their breathing. And they also had this quill beard, which was made out of keratin, the same stuff that our fingernails are made out of.
After we've gone in and done all of the modeling, added all the detail, then the next job is to give them movement in their faces, what we call facial shapes, controls. These controls allow the animator to go in during a shot, animate the face, put a different expression on the character, basically act the character out. One of the things that first attracted me to this project, besides the design work on the face, was the hands. The hands are creepy. They look strange, and I thought it would be really cool to make.
Pete had this idea that one arm could be a tool. Came up with a lot of kind of designs for different tools that it could kind of change into, almost like a Swiss Army knife. We investigated that idea both with illustrations, then we started, with Glenn with animation, started animating a lot of tests for Pete, and then we actually built these proxy pieces that you could wear on an arm. One of the technologies that we like to use, during principal photography is ILM's iMocap system. Our thugs and our regents are suited up in kind of these gray suits, and they have their tracking bands.
They look a little silly when you're wearing them, but the intent is that all of those dots on the suits define a three-dimensional spot in space. We're able to get cameras that will tell us exactly what that motion is, and then we can replicate that motion onto the alien characters.
Pete calls them pajama guys. And he would say, Grady, when are you gonna get rid of those pajama guys? I'm tired of looking at pajama guys. And it's motivating because we want to replace all the pajama guys with our creatures, and it looks fantastic when we do. It just takes time.
Originally, when we shot these, all these aliens were stunt performers. So then we paint the stunt out of there, and we put the background. And you can see that it's kind of similar, but not quite, because things weren't exactly the same. So dimensionality is part of the challenge. We went through all kinds of discovery to find a perfect mixture between something that is alien and something that is human.
If something's on your chin, you're wiping your chin. And so he's an alien, but he has human-like qualities, which makes him feel more real.
Or, for instance, there was an actor right there, but we had to replace all that, so this is all CG. This is not makeup. The tongue and the lips and the teeth, I mean, we've been working months on end for people to say, well, how do you do this? Is this makeup or real? Or even the reflection of Hopper right here, was all put in there. Then the change of the eyelid. It's difficult to bring reality to these kinds of shots.
The actual visual effects in this movie are everything that I kind of love about visual effects.
These guys are so enthusiastic and really love to push the envelope, and they never say no to an idea.
As a visual effects studio, there's nothing more that you could ask for, really, than for the director to push your limits.
I always come back to projects that are really interesting and that push the innovation.
Yeah, that's the type of stuff we geek out on.
All trying to make my stupid little dreams come true. Aloha, I'm Peter Berg, director of Battleship. I'm here in Pearl Harbor on the Hawaiian island of Oahu on the USS Missouri. Missouri is not just the hero of our movie. She's an American icon and an integral piece of military history. We were so lucky to be able to film scenes from our movie on board this battleship, a ship whose decks have been walked on by presidents, prime ministers, admirals, diplomats, and generals, along with the thousands of sailors and Marines who served on her crew. Joining me is Mike Carr, President and COO of the USS Missouri Memorial Association.
On behalf of everyone at the USS Missouri Memorial Association, we're happy to share some of the amazing stories of our battleship. Meet and hear from some of the brave men who lived and served here, and take you on an exclusive tour of the Mighty Mo, walking places within the ship that most people never get to see. Guiding you on this VIP tour with Peter Berg is one of our senior tour guides, Reggie Johnson.
The Mighty Mo protected the United States gloriously in 3 wars over a span of 5 decades: World War II, the Korean War, and Desert Storm. She is one of the largest naval vessels afloat and a real testament to the brilliance and sophistication of human technological achievement. Built as a heavily armed vessel designed specifically to destroy other ships with maximum firepower, Missouri's real heart and soul was the proud and brave crew that served aboard her.
You guys ready?
Let's go.
Let's go. Come on, you guys.
USS Missouri, also known as the Mighty Mo, last battleship built by the United States. Construction started January 6, 1941 in the Brooklyn, New York Navy Yard. 3 years later, the ship was completed. It's a $100 million ship. It's 887 feet 3 inches long by 108 feet 2 inches wide and it's also 209 feet, 8 inches high. Unloaded, it weighs 45,000 tons, and we had a crew of 2,700 in the 40s and the 50s. And then when we put fuel, ammo, supplies, groceries, and personal belongings, then we take it to 58,000 tons. The design of the ship, the bow is up higher so it allows runoff of water. We also have wooden decks. We have wood on top of steel. Because all ships built before air conditioning had to have wooden decks to be insulation from the sun. We've covered the ship's decks with 53,000 square feet of teak wood, very hard, resistant to rot, and we are bringing ammo on board. Dropping ammo on steel is not good. This allows us to not have sparks, which leads to explosions. Joining us on the bow, former crew member, 50 to 52, Brooks Allen.
Brooks, how are you, sir?
Nice to meet you.
Pleasure. So many people have asked me about the 16-inch guns and what it must be like to experience them firing. Can you tell us any stories or any experiences you've had actually having seen the guns fire?
I'll never forget what happened to me. My battle station was on the fantail of the ship on this quad 40mm anti-aircraft gun. And anytime they fire turret 3, everybody on the fantail has to get inside the ship because of the effects of concussion. 3 of us didn't make it once. And we had run underneath the rifles like these, and boom, a 2-gun salvo. And the concussion, which was about 400 feet per second, picked us up like Raggedy Ann, Raggedy Andy, and threw us to the deck. The concussion waves knock at your ears for a long time, but the ones that hurt worse than the 16s are the 5-inch. They bark at you all the time.
All right, well, Taylor, let's go check out the turrets. All right, how's it going?
The ship's XO. This is Captain Jordan from 90 to 92.
Nice to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you. How are you?
Great. Welcome to Turret 1.
Thank you.
This is the heartbeat of the guns themselves. Each gun operates independent of the other. Once the command order is given to go ahead and load, you come into here, and these guys will bring powders from down below, from powder magazines. They come up in a cradle, they load in, they're pushed forward. You put the bullet in, which is about 2,500 pounds. When the command is commenced to fire, the guy pulls the trigger, and out goes 1 round.
So how many people does it take to operate a turret?
At least 100 people.
100? Just in one turret?
In one turret, because you've got powder magazines, you've got projectile magazines, and then you got the folks that are inside.
How far can they shoot, and what kind of damage could they inflict?
Well, you're talking about 2,000 pounds of high explosive. One story that I can relate to you, we caught a side shot, a 4-ton truck, and you see it going through the air, much like you'd see a basketball going through the air. So that's the kind of destructive power.
Thank you so much. It's a real honor. And
it's my pleasure. My pleasure to meet you and have you aboard.
All right, we're going to keep checking out the rest of the ship.
Okay.
All right.
Our next stop, we're going to the surrender deck.
Surrender deck. So this is literally where Japan surrendered World War II.
Yes. The reason for the Missouri being chosen to hold these surrender ceremonies, because President Truman is from the state of Missouri. Back when the ship came out of the Brooklyn Navy Yard, President Truman, as their state's junior senator, gave the dedication speech, and his daughter is the one that took the champagne bottle and swung the champagne bottle. So World War II ended with 23 minutes signing of the documents on board the Battleship Missouri. The table was positioned right here over this spot, and then we put the documents on top. 1 original for the United States, 1 for Japan. The United States and our allies were already here. Japan's representatives come aboard are standing on this side of the table for us to do 23 minutes signing the documents to end World War II.
I heard we positioned our tallest sailors around the table.
As they came on board, we had side boys on the main level. So as they come up the accommodation ladder to come on board, they pass through some of our tall sailors.
Was that to intimidate them, to make them think that we're all real big? Did they let the planes fly overhead? Is there something about all the planes flying overhead?
At the conclusion of signing, we had 2 waves of aircraft, bomber and fighter planes, to pass over. They were already airborne and signaled to get close and pass over as Japan's representatives went down that ladder to exit the Battleship Missouri.
And was that kind of like, we got this, like, don't mess with us?
A lot of support behind us. 255 other ships and more than 1,000 aircraft passing over.
I mean, it's just
mind-boggling.
It really is. I don't like the word awesome. It's pretty awesome.
I want to take you to one more location. It's where a kamikaze plane crashed against the ship, and we found part of the wreckage on board. So let's head in this direction. April 11, 1945, off of Okinawa, aircraft were spotted diving down on this ship, low to the surface of the ocean. A left wing is what impacted the ship, caused it to break apart. Fuselage and the bomb falls in the ocean. The wing and the body is found on board. The first thing we do is put out a fire caused by this collision. So roughly 3 minutes of time, the fire's put out, and then all the crew members are checking in, everybody's accounted for. When they find the body, they have to notify the captain. Captain addresses the entire crew and says they're going to observe some common humanity, prepare the body for burial at sea off this ship.
And was that common policy then to give the enemy a burial like that?
No.
Who was the captain that decided?
Captain William Callahan, who also grew up in Missouri. In his mind, he figured he's teaching his crew a life lesson. Common humanity, give the burial to the young man's body. It makes us much bigger by doing so. So I'm going to head to the captain's cabin, and I'll meet you below decks.
Okay.
Okay?
Good deal.
Okay. During tours, people always ask, how do sailors find their way around onboard ship? Well, ships have marking systems that we call bullseyes. Bullseyes on ship work like addresses going to the friend's house. What level of the ship we're on, 01. What compartment, compartment 95. What side, starboard or port side, right side or left side. Since it's an odd number, that means you're on the right side of the ship. And is it a living space, a workspace, or a trunk space? Letter L, living space. The next row of information, frames. Ship's frames are like ribs in the human body. So we're between frames 95 to 115. The next row, division. This is stores division 5.
Hello, you just entered the captain's cabin.
How are you?
How are you? My name is Toby Lancount. I'm the captain's personal steward from 52 to 55. My responsibility here is to make sure that whatever he needs, he gets. I cook for him. Of course, I shine his shoes, put his uniform, give him a haircut. When my captain leaves the ship, you never seen a sharper sailor in your life. And I'm very proud of that. And of course, being the captain's cabin, every time we have visitors that come in to visit the ship, this is where we entertain them. This is the biggest room that you have here for the captain. You got 3, upper, lower, and import. The captain of the ship never relinquished this room. This is his. In the morning, all the department head will come up here, and they have their briefing, we call it.
See a desk over there. Can you tell us about that desk?
That is the captain's. Every time he's using this, if he wants me, see that push button there? He used that to have the security in me.
Okay.
If he needs me, he just push that. And of course, this is his bedroom. King-size bed, how about that? He's the only one who has a king-size bed. And before he come out here, that he'd look at himself. How do I look? The captain? I think your mustache needs trimming, Jim. Yeah, I do that. I trim just like my dad has.
Very nice.
That's why I'm very proud to be a part of the ship. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I see you found Broadway.
Yeah, I mean, I love this place. You know, we shot a scene from the film where the guys are literally carrying a 16-inch round the length of Broadway. So we spent some time down here, but I never got the inside scoop on it.
Broadway is the single longest passageway through the ship, about the length of a football field, connecting engine room 4 and going forward to engine rooms 3, 2, and 1. We have a rail system that usually moves machinery into the shops and back into the engine rooms. It could also move ammo.
How much did the ammo weigh? How much? Do you know how much would it?
The shells were 1,900 pounds, or the heavy one, 2,700 pounds. And then the canisters are the gunpowder bags, 3 110-pound gunpowder bags, each canister. We have it as if we're ready to transfer it from turret 3, which is at the back part of the ship, towards the front part of the ship, turrets 2 and turrets 1. First thing I need to do is switch the track so we can move it forward on the rail.
Okay.
So right here at this section, they were just like our train.
Yeah.
And then now we can move that off that backup line and move it forward.
Here?
Yes. Just like this. We take it forward. Just like that. And we could continue forward through Broadway if we're moving it towards turret 2 and turret 1, or transfer it back over and go back towards turret 3. If you want, you can head in that direction for engine room 4.
All right, man, I'm gonna go check it out. Thank you. Hey, how's it going?
Hi, Peter. I'm Larry Doom.
Hi, Larry.
I was the chief engineer on the Missouri from 1990 to 1993.
And how many people did you have working for you?
450.
So anything breaks down, you're like Scotty on Enterprise.
Pretty much so.
You're a real-life Scotty.
Yes, sir.
Well, tell me about the engine system.
Well, this ship is a steam ship, and most modern ships nowadays run off of gas turbines. It's the equivalent of a teapot or a coffee pot. You know, it starts generating steam, steam comes out, and we capture that steam, and we channel it towards machinery. And what happens is the bridge, they order up the white needle, tell us what speed, ahead 1/3, 2/3, standard speed, and we answer it. With that, we take this high-pressure steam throttle valve, this is the gas pedal. The big one is for going ahead, the small red one for going astern, and we start opening and allowing steam pressure to the engines.
And what was your maximum speed?
The maximum speed rated is 33 knots, but we did 38.
38 knots?
38. And we could go faster. The boilers had more room to give, but the ship was, when you go that speed, it rides uncomfortably. It vibrates a lot. The stern tends to go down, the bows tends to come up, and there'll be a rooster tail in the back of the ship about 50 feet high.
Wow. Larry, thank you so much, man.
You're welcome.
You're a hero. You're a badass and a hero.
Captain Jordan.
Hi, Reggie. How you doing? Just sitting here admiring these triggers. This is the 5-inch control mechanisms. These are the actual triggers where we would set the alarm to alert everybody topside when they're getting ready to fire, and they actually pull the triggers and fire from here. If I'm up on the bridge, what I'm actually hearing is I'm hearing 3 sounds, and it's on the 3rd sound is when the guns are actually fired. Nobody's topside when we're shooting the 16-inch guns because of the percussion damage to both eyes and ears. But before we do that, we have to calculate. We have to figure out what the right elevation of the barrel is, what the right train angle, what the gun target line is, and so we do that over here in this Mark I Able computer. It's not a computer that you would think of today. Obviously, it's pretty massive in size, but what this is we're able to set what's the elevation, what's the train, what's the ship speed, what's wind speed, what's the environmental speeds, and as a consequence, we're able to shoot the round in the place of where we want it to go.
Okay.
If we want to leave and go topside, I can take you to where we actually control Combat Engagement Center for situational awareness of everything. This is essentially the heartbeat of the ship, the heartbeat from all combat systems. I'm sitting in what's referred to as the captain's chair. When the captain's not here, this space is controlled under the Tactical Officer, or TAO. This immediate bank of phones in front of me is the primary communication circuits, and the red boxes indicate that those phones have the capacity to go secure. Off to my left and forward is the Tomahawk bank. This is where we control all the Tomahawk launches from here. You can see all the commands to the launchers to elevate, to launch. The status boards are typically plotted on from behind. This would be where critical information would be displayed. You would see things like where are we doing naval gunfire targets, or that sort of thing. If I look over to my right, this is the navigation plot. So you're keeping track of where the ship is at all times and where other ships are. Back on the far starboard side is the air traffic control. So those are the guys that are controlling jets that are under our control, or they're tracking jets. So as you can imagine, Desert Storm, we own the skies. We had total air dominance. So we're tracking everything from there. This is a very crowded place when you're at full GQ. You had to really hold your conversation in a hushed tone in order to allow people to do their jobs. But from here, you know what the guns, the 16-inch are doing, the 5-inch are doing. You're not controlling guns from here, but you have total situational awareness of of the entire battlefield.
We're coming into officers' country. This is where officers have their meals and they lounge. As we see it today, it's our ship's museum area. We're going to go over and join Captain Jordan and Brooks and share some information and stories about officers' country. Captain Jordan, Brooks.
How you doing, Reggie?
Hey, how's the atmosphere in officers' country?
This is a pretty well relaxed place. When you live on board a ship and when you serve on a ship and get caught up in the routine of the ship.
Exactly.
And you never relax, if you will, totally.
Train. We're always training.
So the little lounge area to my right was for folks to kind of, relax, read, watch TV. It's the only place where I could get all the officers together at one time. So, you do breakfast down here, you do lunch, dinner, staff meetings, planning meetings, you name it. It was all done in the wardroom.
When I was on watch, 4-hour watch with the officer of the deck, and then we were called OOD messengers. And a lot of times we were asked to go to the wardroom because they knew the individual was here. I felt rather intimidated because here I was, a seaman first class, 17 years old, and I was going into the den. I mean, I was going to be under the gun, so to speak. But I got the job done, and I got the message delivered, and back to the OOD I went.
Well, thanks for sharing those stories with us. I'm going to head over and look at some of the artwork. Life on board was all work and very little play. But one of the things that we found crew members could do to make this really feel like their home was murals and artwork. This mural started in World War II and has evolved as the ship has been active 50s and 80s to 90s. Different colors are from different time periods. Red would be in the 40s, blue in the 50s, and almost a purplish color would be when the ship came back in service 80 to 92. We have some other locations on board ship, like down in the engine rooms, some of their workspaces, machine shops and repair shops, and even down along Broadway. We can see great artwork done by sailors when they were on board to really make this their home away from home.
Thanks for coming along on our trip through history aboard the Mighty Mo, battleship that not only means so much to me personally, but to our servicemen and our country.
Ships are an important part of our country's history, not just the USS Missouri, but countless other ships with their own stories. All of these historic ships need help and could benefit from attention from people just like you. Visit the Historic Naval Ships Association to locate a historic experience near you.
But if you find yourself in Hawaii, we invite all of you to come see us in person sometime here at the Battleship Missouri Memorial.
Mahalo!
As I'm sure many of you know, it's not uncommon for Hollywood films to have different endings. And what I'd like to do is show you one of the alternate endings of Battleship, one that we obviously didn't go with. But this is an ending in which Hopper and Nagata kind of work like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid together to distract the Regent mothership so that the Missouri could come around for the knockout shot. And we thought about using this ending for a variety of reasons, one being it was really expensive. We decided to go with the ending that you've seen in the film. I actually think the ending that we've got is the better ending. But here's a look at what could have been the ending of Battleship.